Dave, you gotta mute them. You gotta mute
Caller.
You gotta mute the YouTube video in the back.
We're gonna have to turn your radio down, caller.
Oh,
You gotta mute
caller.
Got you.
Caller,
You
gotta mute.
Yeah. There we go.
Better.
Maybe a rehearsal next time would be in order.
You can't rehearse it though because it only pops up. We only know if we
I went to the YouTube site and forgot to mute it.
Little bit of delay there. Hey, welcome to the show. We're doing our first WWE show. This is WWE Elimination Chamber on the road to WrestleMania. I don't even know if that's a thing, but if it isn't, now it is.
Oh yeah, it is.
All right, the road to WrestleMania. Shit, you didn't think I was that clever. You didn't think I was WWE clever, did you? You've got the regular heading back to the window crew. I'm your host, Scott Steen. I am the lead handicapper at WrestlerMania. God, at Winners and Whiners, one of those W words. Winners, Whiners, and Wrestling. No, winnersandwhiners.com. I'm joined by a huge wrestling fan. You can't keep him off the top rope. All the way from Long Island, New York, it is
Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
There you go. And we are joined by a real, what do you call him, Matt Head? I don't know what even you call WWE fans, but he is a massive WWE fan. He knows all, he sees all, and most importantly for all of our viewers and listeners, he tells all. Ladies and gentlemen, he is, I don't know what your official title is, Dave. Tell everybody your titles at Winners and Whiners. It's David the Dominator Hess, everybody. What's your official titles?
How you doing, guys?
Associate editor. What are you?
All the above.
Oh, associate editor, yes.
There you go. He wears many hats.
I do, yes.
So it's good to have him here. One of those hats is WWE super fan. So are you excited? First of all, Dave, are you excited about Elimination Chamber on
I'm always
Saturday
excited.
at noon or whenever it's on? What is it, 1 o'clock Eastern time?
It starts at noon because it's over in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So
Right. And there's going to be, you were talking to us before the show, there's one very important change, well, very important to a lot of the male fans that watch WWE. And what is that change, Dave, that's you're going to know you're in Saudi Arabia because why?
Because the women are not allowed to show skin. So they can't wear the bikini outfits that they wear on regular shows. They have to cover up, wear long sleeves, and so that's a bummer to some of us guys.
Quick reminder, everybody. This is 2022. Just wanted to remind that it was 2022, even in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know. I guess to quote Back to School, as Scott and I often do, I think, Phil, you're underestimating the size of the check. Mm-hmm. It was a really huge check, and it had to be a huge check for them to make that kind of concession, right, Dave?
I think so. Yes. All
right. Very good. So what match are you most excited about? We'll do them in order here in a minute, but for now, tell me the match that you want to make sure you don't miss it.
I have to go with the Becky Lynch Lita match. Lita hasn't performed in 16 years in a singles match. So to see her back in the ring, I don't really expect her to win, but she's gonna put on a great show because she always does.
She is a massive underdog at this point, plus 600. Of course, this is a betting show, so we are going to talk about all these matches from a betting angle. Becky Lynch minus 16 hundos. Dave, is there any value at all in taking a spin on Lita?
I don't think so. She does, every time WWE has a wrestler comes out and says, we're going to do one more run. They actually kind of do that run. Goldberg did it a few years ago and he won the title. But I just can't see Lita. This is all about WrestleMania, and Lita's gonna not be a big draw like Becky Lynch would. Becky Lynch versus whoever wins the Elimination Chamber. So,
well, So you don't think she's going to have a Goldberg like run? You think Lita's a one and done, so to speak?
Yeah, well, she came back at Royal Rumble, and she's ready. She says to make one more run, but I just don't think that she can win the match. But
okay, so
she's going to put on a great show. It's going to be a great show.
So you're not going to take a spin at plus 600, though, is what you're
No.
saying. All right, very good. Speaking of Goldberg, he's back. 55-year-old Goldberg is going to wrestle the current WWE Universal Champion. I believe, is he held it longer than anybody right now, David?
Roman Reigns, yes, he has held it for well over 500 days, which is the longest in the history of WWE.
Beat Hulk Hogan. Who else? Bruno Sammartino. Who else was on that list?
Brock Lesnar.
There you go. Brock Lesnar. So Goldberg's wrestling Roman Reigns. Again, this is another situation where the current champion is a massive favorite, minus 1,300 on Roman Reigns. Goldberg checking in plus 575. Dave, I'll ask you a couple questions first. Is there any value on Goldberg there as a big dog?
I actually think there is, but I kind of wish I knew if Goldberg had signed a new contract yet or not. If he did sign a new contract, there's a possibility that he could win this one.
Okay, very good. Scott, you got any questions?
It's not really a question. I was kind of just expecting Roman Reigns and Lesnar to be on the serious crash course. Because that's kind of what everyone's expecting. So wouldn't you or at least agree that if Roman Reigns loses to 50-something-year-old Goldberg, a lot of the luster behind the Reigns and Lesnar future matchup would kind of be lost? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I might take a shot at Goldberg, but you do make a great point, because WWE I think they want to set up Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at Mania
again.
So,
and Brock Lesnar, of course, will be making an appearance this week. Okay, first of all, Dave, we probably should have talked about this right off the top. What is the Elimination Chamber? Can you tell us about that?
The Elimination Chamber, you start with two wrestlers. They start off, and there's 4 pods around the Elimination Chamber. They're around it's like a cage match, steel cage match.
Okay.
And there's 4 pods, and the other 4 wrestlers are in those pods. And after 5 minutes, a new wrestler is entered into the match. If you lose, you're eliminated, and it comes down to the last one standing.
So it's kind of a mini version of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay. And
except you have to win by pinfall or submission to eliminate your opponents.
I think that Scott just meant that you have wrestlers who just show up midway through the match, and you just kind of have
but as far as elimination, it's the opposite, where pinfalls don't really count in the Royal Rumble. It's all over the top rope.
Right.
Saying over the top rope outside the ring means nothing here. It's all about pinfall submission, like a normal match.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And it is a brutal structure. I mean, there's very little give. Definitely, and you'll see a lot of high flying stuff too. People climbing up to the top and jumping off, and climbing up to the top of the pods and jumping off, and it's a wild.
How is the order determined? Because obviously there's a hell of an advantage to be last as opposed to being first.
Well, in the women's, I believe it was Bianca Belair that is going to be last. Because she won a gauntlet match this week. And so she gets to go in last. Sometimes they have that. They don't have that for the men's. It's all going to be random.
Is it random or is it determined by McMahon?
It's probably determined by McMahon.
Okay. All right. So there's no official draw. It's not like they don't have a weigh-in where that event is or more aptly the like the drawing of the ping pong balls in the NBA draft, etc.
Right. No.
Okay. Also curious, how long do one of these Elimination Chamber matches actually take? Because that's a lot of guys that need to be pinned.
Is that
like an hour?
I would say, 45 minutes to an hour. But I mean, you got to figure there's 2 of them with the women, and then there's a bunch of other matches. So I mean, this could be a 4-hour pay-per-view.
Okay.
All right, very good. All right, let's run down the card, Scott. I mean, and Dave. Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss, another really chalky match here. Drew McIntyre minus 650, Madcap Moss plus 375. I'll probably ask you the same question, Dave, in all of these, because I know most of our viewers aren't going to be interested in laying 650 or 1300 or whatever. So is there any value on the dog, Madcap Moss at plus 375?
I think there is, only because this match is a falls count anywhere match.
Okay.
And that means that it's no disqualification. And with that, Drew McIntyre is going to be outnumbered at some point in this match by the addition of Baron Corbin, who is Madcap Moss's partner.
Okay.
So I can see them teaming up, to take down McIntyre. And McIntyre's been on a run, where he's been destroying the pair lately. And a lot of times when that happens, you'll see WWE go the other way once the match happens. So
okay.
I can see Madcap Moss, because all the favorites aren't going to win anyway, and this would be a great one to take a dog. I think I can see Madcap Moss coming out on top in this one.
Scott, you going to back Madcap there?
I think McIntyre is going to win, but I do think that Dave makes some good points. I do think that since you are kind of expecting McIntyre, based on the run he's been on, to win handily, I do think there's going to be some shenanigans where you will see Madcap bring out his partner, and you'll see both of them potentially just destroy McIntyre for a brief period of time. But I do think McIntyre is going to seem to be completely done, and then he'll have some last-second push, and he'll win miraculously. So the way I see it, I think it'll be very close, but I do think it's setting up for McIntyre to eventually win by some comeback when all hope seems lost. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
So in other words, you think you're going to cash your big underdog ticket at plus 375, and then you'll see it snatched away.
Pretty much. I think he might get a spot where you think it's over, and then he'll kick out or something, and then he'll end up just completely reversing the situation and winning.
And they'll start chanting, "This is awesome," and you'll think, "No, it isn't. I almost had a win right there."
Dave, what do you think of that? Because I do agree that usually the organization goes the other way when things appear to be one-sided, but I do think that means that you should see a close match. But McIntyre's run, I think, is too strong, and then they'll just keep it going.
Well, yeah, I mean, McIntyre is, he's not just going to run over Madcap Moss.
That's what I'm saying. It'll be a war, but I think he'll get it done.
Yeah.
All right. James S. says many moons ago, he went to see the WWF event at the State Fair in Arizona. Said the Ultimate Warrior was so big he broke the ropes on the ring. I can see that. You got a temporary ring set up at the State Fair, probably not as good as the ones they set up. By the way, we had a WWE show in town like week before last, and the amount of trucks, we counted like 14 trucks. And my daughter says there's in this T-Mobile Center, there's still more tucked away. So they probably run around 20 trucks to bring that show to town. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And then, they had this SmackDown that tonight was actually taped last week because they couldn't really do a live SmackDown show. And then, or for tomorrow night, and they couldn't do a live SmackDown show tomorrow night, and then, jet off to Jeddah.
Right. Very good. All right. Two wrestlers that I've actually heard of. Back when I watched, this is back when I watched a lot of wrestling, Rey Mysterio and The Miz. Is the Miz, is that awesome? Is that the Miz? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
This is one of the more competitive matches, at least according to the odds, minus 200 on Mysterio. The Miz plus 150. Dave, I feel like taking a spin on The Miz here at 3-2. No?
Well, I'm going to go with Rey in this one. I just, Miz's wife is going to get involved somehow, but Rey has his son, and he will equal.
The Miz's?
Yeah, the Miz's. Yeah, she'll get involved. She's been getting involved lately.
Oh, sure.
the Miz and Mrs. just had a match against Edge and his wife Beth Phoenix at the last pay-per-view. So that was pretty fun.
All right, so you've got Mysterio there. Scott, what do you got?
I'm going with the Miz. At some point, I got to pick a dog, and the Miz I feel like is at least comparable to Rey at this point. I mean, is Rey as big of a star as he used to be? Probably not. I think the Miz is pretty live to win it.
How about the
Rey is kind of still a big. He made it to the cover of 2K22 for the wrestling.
Oh, there you go.
So,
fair enough.
And quick reminder, Scott and I know nothing about wrestling, so
I try, but
if you guys are watching this show going, well, they voted 2-1 to take the dog, that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So
I just know I can't sit here and take only chalk. So I think Rey is definitely worthy of being a bit of a favorite, but I see a coin flip match in my opinion.
All right, good enough. He can't turn it off where he tries to sound like he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
I mean, don't you want me to tell you, man? I mean, I think it's a coin flip.
Look at that smile. Would you play poker with that, man? I know I would.
I mean, Dave's talking about how a wife's going to get involved and a son's going to get involved. You're going to have outside interference.
You've got a busted straight draw.
Plus 150.
Stop lying. You've got a busted straight draw. Don't even try it. Ronda Rousey and Naomi, Charlotte Flair, Sonya Deville in the ladies tag team matches. Don't Google ladies tag team, by the way. I'm just giving you fair warning. Ronda Rousey and Naomi, big favorites here, minus 375. Flair and Deville, plus 250. I assume Sonya Deville will be taking off the jacket for this match, Dave?
Yes, she will.
Okay, very good.
And
takes the jacket off. She's a wrestler. When she puts it on, she's a member of management, right? Right, Dave?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Who do you like here, my friend? Any value on the dog?
Well, the dog does have an advantage here because there's an odd stipulation for this match that Ronda Rousey has to wrestle with one arm tied behind her back.
That is odd. Did she literally say, I could beat you with one hand tied behind my back?
She didn't say it, but apparently that's a stipulation. And I'm sure that the stipulation came from Sonya Deville.
Right.
But having said that, I still can't take the dog in this one. Although Charlotte and Ronda, I expect Ronda to beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. But and when that happens, I can almost see Charlotte coming out on top in this one. But when you stack the deck against someone, a lot of times they actually win it. And, Ronda having to wrestle with one arm tied behind her back, Naomi's just going to destroy Sonya. And I can't take the dog in this one.
Battle of the Burkas, Scott. What do you like?
I'm going with Ronda. I mean, WWE did not pay that much money for Ronda for her to lose. The way that I see it is that even though Charlotte Flair, of course, has the family connection to Rick, but I'm going with Ronda. I think you're looking at a spot where, as Dave pointed out with the stipulations, usually the person who has the disadvantage wins anyway. And are the fans supposed to be impressed if they paid money to see Ronda have one hand tied behind her back and lose? Like, what's the fun in that? No, I think Ronda's going to win.
Is John Cena still in the WWE? I can't see him. You know who said that? IC said that. That's funny on so many levels, right there.
And you can't say you don't know much about wrestling, Scott Steen, because you knew about Sonya and the jacket.
That was only from doing research for this, where I watched the Royal Rumble, the ladies.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
But seriously though, do you think the WWE brought in Ronda so she could lose a match with one hand tied behind her back? I doubt it. I just think Ronda's going to win.
So where do you go from there? Is she like the Black Knight and Monty Python, where the next match she has to have both hands tied behind her back?
It's a flesh wound.
Then she just has to hop around on one leg. All right, so let's talk about the Elimination Chamber. Scott, this is your chance not to take the dog. I mean, not to take the favorite. Bianca Belair, minus 200. Everybody else is plus money. Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, all plus money prices. Scott, let's let you weigh in first.
So Bianca, as Dave mentioned before, is being entered into the portal last. So she should have the big advantage, correct?
Yes.
The odds reflect that, yes.
So I feel like that's how they want you to perceive the match as a result. Duh. But I do think that Alexa's pretty live here. I feel like this is a spot where if you want to go for a chalk, then I feel like you're going to pretty much be only betting chalk. I don't really see many attractive underdogs in terms of odds really showcase themselves in this card. I think Alexa's pretty live here. I'll go with Alexa Bliss.
All right, I'm going to weigh in before Dave actually gives a real opinion. I'm gonna handicap it like it was a sporting event. I watched Rhea Ripley in the Royal Rumble, and she absolutely dominated for the first half. She's huge. She's got a lot of skills. She ran out of gas in the second half, and they were able to get her out of there. I think in the shortened format like this, I like Rhea Ripley. I think we're getting a good price at plus 300. All right, Dave, tell me how wrong I am.
Well, no, I don't think you're wrong at all. Rhea Ripley, this is a match. Looking at the others, Alexa, I think, and Alexa and Liv have the only ones that have been inside the Elimination Chamber before. So they do have the advantage, but this match is built for someone that's as destructive as Rhea Ripley. I don't think that's a bad pick, but
nice guy right there.
I'm going with Alexa also. And
let's go.
Alexa has been out of wrestling for a while. Okay, she just went through their fake counseling because of how she lost. The last time she wrestled, someone tore up her doll. I think it was Charlotte Flair. Tore up her doll and sent her packing. And we haven't seen Alexa. We haven't seen Alexa since last year. So she's been making her way back. She's coming back. She's one that can just take it. I know everyone is expecting Bianca Belair, but for that, I would expect her to be higher as far as favorite.
Okay.
Because everyone wants Bianca versus Becky at WrestleMania. But I can see Alexa coming out on top in this one. I do like her to come out on top. The others, Liv Morgan, she had her little run. Dewdrop isn't ready yet, and Nikki ASH is just a joke right now. So, but it is going to be between the top three. But I think that Alexa Bliss is going to come out on top.
All right, very good. All right, moving on. The men's side of the Elimination Chamber. Brock Lesnar favorite minus 105. Bobby Lashley plus 150. Seth Rollins plus 250. AJ Styles 600. Riddle 700. And Austin Theory 2,500. I'm going with the favorite here. I'm getting chalky. I'll take Lesnar at minus 105. Dave?
I was going to say it's a rare spot where the champion's actually just straight up not favored in a matchup like this, right?
Right. He is the second favorite there.
I have to agree. And a big reason is because I think the WWE wants Lesnar versus Reigns in a title for title match at Mania. That would be a huge draw. But, having said that and knowing that, I feel we could see Bobby Lashley retain his title. I don't think the other four are going to win it. There was some talk that Riddle was actually supposed to win the Royal Rumble, but Shane McMahon screwed up the Royal Rumble, and then he got fired. So he actually got fired from his father, or by his father.
Right.
How exactly did he ruin the Rumble again?
He ruined the Rumble by, first of all, he inserted himself in as the number four from the end. He wasn't even supposed to be in the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
He switched things around from what they were supposed to be. I don't exactly know everything about what wasn't.
Okay, so he went off script, and I guess his father didn't like it too much.
Script.
Okay.
And the management wasn't happy, and neither was the wrestlers backstage. Like I said, I believe from what I had read, Riddle was supposed to win it. So you might give Riddle a shot here, but I don't think so. I think it's either going to be Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And I expect those two to be the last two. And but I do expect Brock Lesnar to win it because he, you know, I can see him versus Reigns for the, you know, title for title match each, then, you know, and it just sets up nicely for WrestleMania.
All right. Very good. And the WWE, we talked about Becky Lynch and Lita earlier. We talked about Roman Reigns and Goldberg, both at the top of the show. The WWE Smackdown Tag Team Championship winners, Dave. The Usos are the champions against the Viking Raiders. Usos minus 525. Viking Raiders plus 300. Dave, let me ask you this. Does this tie in any way to Roman Reigns getting a victory there as well? Because the Usos and Roman Reigns kind of attached at this point. Do they both get the easy wins?
I have to think so. I can't say. I mean, the Viking Raiders did hold the title once before, but I mean, they just came out of nowhere basically to gain this spot. They won a fatal 4-way for a shot at this, and that was a couple of months ago, actually. But I can see them putting on a good show. I just can't see them winning it. And, you know, as long as Roman Reigns is the champion, the Usos are probably going to still be champions because they that way they can keep the bloodline thing going. The whole
Look at me. It took 30 minutes, but I got one right.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you think? Who you got here?
I'm going with the favorites here. I think the Usos are going to win. I think that Roman's going to win by destruction. I think it's going to be a very underwhelming match, particularly in the Roman one. Just because, same reason why I like Lesnar to win the Elimination Chamber match in itself. It was the last point that Dave made. I'm just expecting a collision course between two virtually unbeatable guys that's going to set up for Mania. And if one of them loses, then a lot of the luster between that head-to-head matchup, again, I know they faced off about 40 times already, I do think that you're going to see both of them win, so they enter on a winning streak when they come to a clash. So I like Lesnar, I like Roman Reigns, and I like the Usos because they're connected to Reigns. Truth is, it's minus 1,300. I know the max bet on it is like to win $25. If you want to win a free $25, bet Roman Reigns to beat Goldberg because Goldberg's not winning anything at 55.
There you go. All right, guys, that kind of puts a bow on it. Let's take a look and we'll recap all of our picks here. We'll start at the top. Drew McIntyre, Madcap Moss. I took a little spin on Madcap Moss at plus 375. Dave?
Yeah, I like Madcap Moss also.
Scott?
I think Drew wins in a war.
All right, there you go. Rey Mysterio and The Miz. I've got The Miz in a long shot there at plus 150, as does Scott. Dave has Rey Mysterio. The tag team ladies style, Ronda Rousey and Naomi minus 375. That's what I've got. I think, do we all have that?
Yeah.
Okay. The women's elimination chamber, you guys both liked Alexis Bliss at plus 200. I've got Rhea Ripley, kind of a long shot there at plus 300. Scott and I like Brock Lesnar, while Dave has a slight lean to Bobby Lashley in the.
No, I thought he liked Lesnar too.
Yeah, I like Lesnar.
Oh, we're all three on Lesnar there. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, very good. We all like the serious jock Becky Lynch against Lita there in the Raw Women's Championship. In the tag team, we all like the Usos. And we all like Roman Reigns over Goldberg. Unless we could find out Goldberg's contract status and see if he's signed a deal, then maybe a slight switch there.
I just don't know how you can go into Mania expecting Reigns versus Lesnar and have Reigns, who's pretty much the face of the organization right now, lose to Goldberg. I just don't know how that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, Dave, any final thoughts?
Back to, if Goldberg was to win the title away from Reigns, you could still see Reigns versus Lesnar if Lesnar wins the title on Raw.
It's more the aura, because
Right.
right now they're building up Reigns as this unbeatable like monster.
Well, he is.
That's the
held
point.
the title longer than anybody.
But
and
can you
now
really call him a monster if he loses to Goldberg? I just feel like everything about the aura that they've built for him goes right out the window if he loses to Goldberg. At least that's just mine.
true. Yeah,
All right.
I can see that.
Well, good enough. We'll be watching that one. We'll be watching the rest of them. Hey, guys, thanks very much for stopping by. We appreciate it. We kind of had fun here on our initial wrestling show. I'm sure we'll do it again, at least for WrestleMania, maybe even before that. So
WrestleMania's two-night event.
That's right. It's a special 2-night event. And don't forget, this one is early, coming to you from the fine folks in the Saudi Kingdom. It'll be on at noon Eastern time. So check your local listings. Make sure you get tuned in. All right, guys. Thanks very much for stopping by, Dave. I really appreciate your time as I always do. So you guys have a great one.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Enjoy the show, everybody. And don't forget, check me and Scott out every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, as we do our very best to help you in your journey to head back to